I didn't know much about him, and so the only thing that I had asked her when she said she wanted to set us up was, I had one question. I said, well, is he nice? Because if he wasn't kind, it just didn't seem like it would make sense. And so we went and
I'll look at the statements using the principles of essay. Oprah confronts her with people's negative opinions. Initially, we don't hear Meghan deny these opinions. She makes an interjection, in this case a mild oath, indicating alleged surprise. Then Oprah introduces the idea that Meghan went into the royal life with an intention to build her brand. Notice what Meghan doesn't say. She doesn't say, no, it's not true, something similar that would have been a reliable denial. She remains unassertive. Now, let's pay very close attention to what she does say. In essay, it's understood that people prefer not to lie, because lying causes internal stress. Therefore, they often avoid answering by asking a counter-question. This is a way of controlling the conversation. Meghan asks two questions, one of them being a question with an inbuilt preference for agreement. She doesn't say that it doesn't make sense. She says, can you imagine how little sense that makes? She prefaces sense with the adjective little. So linguistically, her question implies that there is in fact a little sense in people's suspicions. With the possessive pronoun our, she turns the attention away from her to include Harry as well, that this was a shared plan. Immediately after this, Meghan turns the attention to how she was allegedly overlooked by Harry's family. This is a linguistic self-defense mechanism. It's conceivable that she overcompensates for not being able to reliably deny Oprah's statement. Let's have a look at it. Irrespective of her intentions, it's obviously important to Meghan to present herself as overlooked or as a victim. She says there was no guidance or training, nothing that was offered to her. And once again, she makes a reference to fiction. She says, unlike what you see in movies, thus again, probably unintentionally, pointing to where she got her expectations. She goes on to emphasize how she felt overlooked and how she just wanted to make them proud. But just indicates the presence of a different thought. That's why she says it. So, on her own initiative, she suggests that this wasn't a straightforward wish. And the most important point, Meghan successfully moves the goalpost for the interview. The line of statement started with Oprah asking her about people's suspicions, and Meghan goes on to criticize Harry's family and or the staff at the royal family. She behaves like someone who feels threatened by Oprah's original question or statement.
and it's so interesting because we talk about it now, and even then, because I'm from the States, you don't grow up with the same understanding of the royal family, and so while I now understand very clearly, there's a global interest there.
We should note her insertion here. She makes a distinction between the past and the present, and lets us know that she now understands the royal family, not just clearly, but very clearly. Very is an intensifying linguistic element used for emphasis. However, in her interview with Oprah, she didn't sound so sure about her understanding. She says there was no way to know what the day-to-day was going to be like, and thus makes it sound like a negative experience.
But in the case of your relationship, unlike for most people, there's this whole layer of what it means to get involved with someone from the royal family. How much of a sense did you have, Meghan, of the enormity of what you were getting into, what it might mean for your life?
I think I can very safely say, as naive as it sounds now, having gone through this learning curve in the past year and a half, I did not have any understanding of just what it would be like. I don't think either of us did that. We both said that, even though we knew that it would be.
The interviewer asks about Meghan's thoughts before getting involved with Harry. Once more, Meghan makes a distinction between a past and present level. She says, as naive as it sounds now. Now refers to precisely what she's saying, having gone through a learning curve. She refers to this learning curve as a past and thus completed event. Also, notice the past tense. This also points to completion. She then associates with Harry, even though the interviewer asked her about her thoughts explicitly. Obviously, association is sensitive to Meghan. Her reference to the learning curve and her understanding of what things were going to be like differ from her statements in her interview with Oprah. Meghan's telling us that she doesn't feel close to the royal family, and also that this entire passage is urgent for her to get across. Additionally, she makes a royal life sound like a life of a prisoner. This is noteworthy because at the time of the engagement interview, she more than likely knew that she would have to turn these possessions over. In the engagement interview, however, there's no sign of negativity, no sign of not understanding the royal life, so to speak. In conclusion, there's a discrepancy in how she makes her understanding sound when we compare the two interviews.
And it's an immense change. You're getting a new country out of it, a husband obviously, but also giving up your
nice.
career.
This is nice. Yes. But I don't see it as giving anything up. I just see it as a change.
Yes, but is the most common way of expressing disagreement with another person. First, there's the acknowledgement token yes to express politeness, and then the opposing but sets in to initiate the disagreement. Again, Meghan's making it sound like a positive change, which isn't the case in her interview with Oprah.
Have you met each other's families, I imagine?
Yes, his family's been so welcoming, and
You've met quite a few of them, actually.
I have, on both sides of his family, his mom's side as well, which has been really important to me too. But yes, the family has been great, and over the past year and a half, we've just had a really nice time getting to know them and progressively helping me feel a part of not just the institution, but also part of the family, which has been really, really special.
Here we should first note Meghan's positive descriptions of the royal family, and second that she says the past year and a half, indicating a time period that some would consider substantial. This narrative about the royal family is different from the narrative she gives in her interview with Oprah. Here she makes a clear distinction between her world, as she calls it, and the royal family, as we also observed with her distancing words, that family. Furthermore, she says she didn't give it a lot of thought that she was about to marry a prince, despite the year and a half time period she mentioned.
What was it like introducing Meghan to your father and your brother?
What was it like? It was exciting. I mean, I've been seeing her for a period of time when I literally didn't tell anybody at all. And then William was longing to meet her, and so was Catherine. So, they're being our neighbours. We managed to get that in quite a few times now. And Catherine's been absolutely
Wonderful.
amazing.
Meghan says that William's wife, Catherine, has been wonderful. In her interview with Oprah, however, this wasn't the impression she gave. On one occasion, Kate made Meghan cry. In SA, it's understood that information stated in the negative is sensitive to the person stating it. When a person says, "I don't want to lie to you," the thought of lying has crossed their mind for some reason, before they preface the concept of lying with a negation. We're interested in noting negative formulations because they often indicate ulterior motives on the speaker's part. Here, I don't say that to be disparaging is a linguistic self-defense mechanism that points to Meghan having thought exactly this, and critics of her would be entitled to ask, why bring it up if there's a chance it could be disparaging to someone, and you don't want to be disparaging to anyone? Meghan's obviously running the risk of being disparaging to Kate. She gives a subtle self-praise with these words, while also discreetly emphasizing that she was the hurt one. Meghan says would have never, not I didn't want. First, would have is a so-called distancing verb choice, telling us what she would have never wanted, not what she actually didn't want. She's speaking generally, not specifically. In contrast, I didn't want is a so-called reliable denial because it's specific to the thought process she mentions. She's not denying that she wanted this. She's stating that this is something she would in no way want. We notice a subtle self-praise again with her statement that she supposedly protected Kate, at least protected her up until this very interview. Again, we should ask, why is actually used by the speaker? It's a quote-unquote unnecessary word, since the statement would be perfectly understandable without this word. Unnecessary words are noteworthy because by their very presence, they're sensitive to the person uttering them. The purpose of the word is to modify the level of fairness. So this is not a straightforward answer. Here, Meghan's emphasizing her supposed ability to forgive. Combined with the other instances of self-praise, this statement points to Meghan being the protagonist in the narrative she's creating.